I guess I was pretty young when I first got into music. I just remember being, I don't know, 3 or 4 and always listening to my parents' vinyl collection, so that's probably how I actually got into music. And then when I was about 13 or 14, a buddy of mine went over to his house and his older brother had a guitar, and it kind of fascinated me, so yeah, the rest is history.
I guess it's kind of the same as Mike. I grew up in a small town where there wasn't a radio station that played anything decent, so I was listening to my dad's vinyl, a lot of Rush and stuff like that, good old classic rock. Then when I was about 13, my parents bought me my first guitar, and I've just been playing ever since.
I got into drumming when I was 9, started taking lessons, involved in more the marching percussion side of it. Got into playing drum set once I was in high school. My older brother's a musician, so I sort of followed the footsteps, and I've been playing more set, but still involved in marching percussion ever since.
How did the band go together?
So Mike and I originally had a band when we were in high school. I think we first met in grade 10. He was jamming with some guys. Found out I played drums. We had a science class together. Invited me over to his place. Turned out the bass player he was jamming with I grew up with since I was quite young. So we played in a band all through high school, sort of played some of the local shows, if you will, a couple of school shows, and then we had, I guess, about a 12-year hiatus. Started playing together again with the original bass player, and actually a little over a year ago with Ryan, and things didn't work out there. We kind of kept going as a 3-piece, and then that didn't work out. So Mike and I just kind of kept pushing through and brought Ryan back on board, and hopefully the rest is history.
Noisefeeder originally was, I bought it, like it was a domain name that I bought that just did for my own amusement. I would just go on and upload a whole bunch of YouTube videos of music that I liked. But yeah, as we were kind of searching for a band, that one always kind of stuck. And it just kind of became more apparent that Noisefeeder was it's kind of like you have this idea that rock music is noise, and I like to think that we make music that feeds your mind in a somewhat healthy way, so Noisefeeder was born.
I grew up listening to, I was sort of in that whole grunge Seattle scene, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins. Those were probably the bands that, first sort of got, even Green Day, I think, sort of, the first sort of bands that I started playing a drum set to. When it comes to an actual drummer, I would say my biggest influences are Dave Grohl and Tommy Lee.
For me, my musical influence is pretty much in the same vein. I think we can all pretty safely say that musicians in that era. I guess the 3 biggest groups for me were always Nirvana. Nirvana was always the first. They were the songs that I learned how to play guitar, and then just kind of transformed to other stuff like Pumpkins. I was huge into Smashing Pumpkins and
Yeah, I think we're all pretty much on the same page. I mean, after I had a job and had money to buy my own stuff and not listen to all my dad's records, it was, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Smashing Pumpkins, all that. But I was also really big into all the angry girl music, like Hole and 7-Year Bitch, Babes in Toyland, stuff like that, L7. And then I think as I got older, music started to kind of evolve too, and I got more into 9 Inch Nails, Tool, Deftones, bands like that.
It was actually, with this project, was probably a little unorthodox in that because we were down to just Mike and I, the 2 of us decided to just push through and start writing all of our material. So it was actually all done originally sort of computerized. We were just screwing around with GarageBand. I was using some Roland B drums hooked directly into through an M audio, and we were working Mike's guitar pedal board straight into the Mac, and we kind of were writing directly while demoing into GarageBand. And then once that kind of wasn't really giving us the fix in the sense of volume and thickness of the music, we started renting some rehearsal space, and that's where it took off a lot faster once we were sort of in the louder scenario.
Yeah, and I guess like once that was done, like for anybody who's actually wondering how the songs get crafted, mainly I think I'll come up with like a guitar riff or something, and then at least the way we work this, I would bring it to Jay, and we kind of said we like this, we not like it, and then from there we like it, we just kind of flesh out more kind of like verse, chorus, bridge, intro, outro stuff, put it all together, and then yeah, when Ryan came on board, we showed him the songs, and he was pretty easily yeah. I mean, like, you easily just pick them up and add your own flavor.
Yeah, I think we always had a vision of what the bass parts were going to sound like, but I mean, we kind of left all the creativity once we had the right guy in place, and definitely we do.
Yeah, I think a big thing, at least for us, is we're all on the same page that we want the songs to be songs that we like. Like we all like. We don't want just like the song just Jay, like the song like that. So we all want to at least contribute to our with our own instruments as well. So that's a big portion.
Favorite song for me is actually probably the first one that we wrote, which is Catalina. It's a song that just kind of came together, and it just felt complete right from basically the first time we ever played it. So it's what we've just been comfortable with, just rock out to right from the get-go.
I'm with Jay. I like Catalina's fun to play. Force Field I like because it's just like pounding song. That's the song.
For me, I guess I would have to say Force Field, only because that song for me is kind of the one song that actually turned out exactly how I thought it would in my head. And I find a lot of times when I'm writing stuff, it doesn't turn out anything like it's supposed to in my head, but that's not necessarily bad. Or like it's just different. But yeah, I think that one I'm kind of a bit attached to. I like how that one came. Being inspirational, I guess, to other musicians, people that are looking to make music, and maybe not even other musicians, just be inspirational towards anyone who's looking to do something in their life that is actually fun. Like so many people don't get to do what they actually want to do. But a lot of the musicians that I've always looked up to have always thought outside the box. They kind of played by their own rules. So those are the types of messages that I hope to convey through noisefeeder.